Back at it on the Hangout as we take a look at the pre-tourney mock draft. Everyone knows that the NCAA Tournament, one of the biggest chips to play for a young man trying to get himself into the league we call the National Basketball Association. If you look at how it plays out right now, they got the top player being Andrew Wiggins. Joel Embiid, who right now is suffering from some back ailments, could supersede either him or Jabari Parker as the #1 pick. I expect Julius Randle to fall because I don't think Kentucky's going to do very well. But I'm going to throw this out to you guys first off. I'm going to start with Huggy. Who do you think on this board is going to make the biggest jump? We know that Dante Exum doesn't really have a chance to because he's not involved playing in Europe. But someone here, also Dario Saric, but someone here will jump higher in the draft. Who's your guy?
I say McDermott. I feel that Embiid, Wiggins, Parker, they're cemented, you know what I mean?
In their position?
In top 3, top 4.
Do you have a pecking order for those 3?
I'm going with Wiggs at 1 still.
Yeah.
I think Wiggs is maybe at 50% of his potential. I think Parker's at 90%. So what you see is what you get. Wiggins, he's franchise material. Parker is just going to be a great NBA career.
Which one of those guys is going to have the bigger tournament for you? I feel Andrew has a chance because Joel's out for the first round.
No, well, I agree with that. And he's been showing it in his last 3 games. What do we got? 41, 30, 22.
Putting up big numbers.
Putting up big numbers when it counts.
That doesn't necessarily translate, though, to a good run in the tournament. A lot of people are saying it could benefit Wiggins that Embiid is out. I don't agree with that logic. I think if your best bet for Kansas to win the tournament is to be at full strength. And I think if Embiid doesn't get back by Sweet 16 time, I think Kansas is in big trouble.
I agree with you, and that's why I think that it could actually raise Embiid's stake. Because if Kansas doesn't perform well without him, it really shows what a positive impact that he does have on their team.
Now, one thing that I want to talk about is the simple fact that not having Embiid out there, though, is going to give Andrew a lot of space to move. And granted, Kansas wants to win a national championship. For a lot of NBA basketball fans, they're waiting for Andrew Wiggins to do something really special. Not necessarily the numbers, but towards the end of the second half of a game, they really want to see him take over. And I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, this may be kind of a perfect storm of circumstances for Andrew because people have been nitpicking at him all year.
I mean, and getting back to the question at hand, you're saying who's going to take the biggest jump? I think the 3 guys we're talking about here, Embiid, Wiggins, Parker, they're not going to shift very much.
There's not a lot of room.
They're there. I'm saying McDermott, he's a senior. He needs to, even though he's been proving himself,
yes,
if he comes out and has a big tournament and they win their first 2 games and he's as big as he usually is, he can end up jumping into that top 7 or 8. Because right now, he's probably at 12, 13.
We talked about Arizona a little bit before, and I think Aaron Gordon could make a big jump. Remember, who's going to advance in the tournament is so key to moving on here. I think Wiggins is a lock for the #1 pick.
Yeah.
I've said it on this couch before, but that draft board had Gordon at the number 8. I think he has a good chance to, if Arizona gets to the Final Four, he's going to be a key part of it, and I think he could move himself up into the top 5.
Do you think what happened with Marcus Smart kind of
what a bad
year.
for
That hurt him a lot.
Well,
absolutely.
That coupled with the fact that he's been losing.
So,
but if Marcus Smart beats Gordon, does that
changes
ahead
things.
of Gordon?
Oklahoma State versus Arizona, of course. For those of you who don't know, Marcus Smart came into this year probably the top guard in the draft. Yeah. He could have been a 2, 3, 4, 5 pick last year, decided to come back because his team exited early in the tournament. Not the best year, but the real kicker was the altercation he had where he actually struck a fan, and that has NBA GMs kind of second-guessing him mentally. So this is going to be a big run for Marcus Smart if he can put together a run. Now let's talk about the Canadians, because I prefaced this before we went to break. 25 Canadians playing significant roles on teams inside the madness. So let's break it down now. Who are the stats? Like, we all know, of course, about Melvin Ejim after that crazy tournament he had in the Big 12, just balling out. Nick Stauskas, we'll let Huggy talk about Nick. But who here that we don't really get to see a lot was going to be a standout guy in this tournament? I'm going to throw this to Dan. I know you're a Gonzaga fan, too.
Canadian madness. That's what's going on right now. To me, all eyes on Tyler Ennis.
Yes.
Is this guy ready for the NBA? Is he going to have to come back next year? What position is Syracuse in? They started the season so well. Was it 21-0?
Yeah, 25-0. They lost.
He hit that shot against Pittsburgh, the miracle shot, and all of a sudden I thought Tyler Ennis was a top 5 pick. And then since then, I think they've lost 5 of 7 games. Coach Boeheim lost it on the court one day. And now they have, even though they're playing close to home in Buffalo, they have a really tough road now as a 4 seed. So I think Ennis is one guy who has a lot to prove right now, but I do think he has the opportunity to show the basketball world that he can do this.
Ashley, who's your person?
I really like Brady Heslip. He's
Thank
one
you.
of my favorite players, and although his numbers over the last 3 years have been fairly consistent, they're a little bit higher than they were last year. I think that he's been playing very well, and this will be a really great opportunity for him with Baylor to really show his stuff.
I think one of the things for Brady was, I mean, you saw what, it was last year or 2 years ago, playing with NBA players who can spread the court and kind of attract double teams. Brady's an NBA shooter, hands down. He's going to hit that shot if you can create space. I think when Quincy Acey and Perry Jones and those guys left that team, it didn't leave playmakers on the other side of the ball for him, so no one can create that shot for Brady. If there are guys available to create shots for Brady, like we saw when he played Jamaica here in Toronto for the Canadian national team, Brady's a knockdown shooter. So I have a lot of hope for him. Hopefully those guards can get him open. But Huggy, we know there's certain guys that you're really big on, but we want to hear one of the guys we haven't heard a lot about, a quieter player.
Mullings.
Daniel Mullings, player of the year in this conference.
Definitely player of the year in the WAC. He brings world-class athleticism, to that guard position, and that's how he dominates his opponents. I was in Vegas on the weekend, so I was there for his semis and his championship games there. And both games, he dominated whoever they put in front of him. You look at him as a little guy, you underestimate him, but he comes up big in the games, makes the big plays.
All right, well, listen, we still have more to break down because we talked about college basketball a lot this show so far. We still got to talk about NBA basketball.